There's a hole in my window. Surprising facts about traveling by air. Today, air travel is the safest way to move around the planet. However, with so many rules and safety features, flying can be an overwhelming experience. Here are some interesting facts that might make you feel more confident during your next journey into the sky. Flying in lightning. Thunderstorms are dangerous, even when you're on land. So, sitting on an airplane that gets struck by lightning must be deadly, right? Shockingly, planes are designed to be struck. When lightning hits the plane, it travels through the shell of the aircraft and out the other side. It is estimated that each plane is hit around once every year. Dim the lights. Doesn't it seem strange that when a plane prepares for landing, the crew dim the lights inside the cabin? Wouldn't it be safer to have more light? There's a good reason for this procedure. If there's an emergency and the lights go out, your eyes will already be used to the darkness. Then it's much safer to evacuate the aircraft.
Hi everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Pat.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Nikki.
Now, most of you guys will have been on a plane at some point in your life. Even if you have, some of the facts we're going to introduce today and tomorrow will still surprise you. And if you've never flown before, we hope you enjoy the experience. Remember these facts when you fly. The first part of the article starts by saying today, air travel is the safest way to move around the planet. Okay, yeah.
Safest?
Well, I guess, if you're going to, it's either plane or boat.
Boat, yeah.
And boats, the sea is maybe a bit more risky, I suppose. The article carries on. However, with so many rules and safety features, flying can be an overwhelming experience. Yeah, it is very safe, but when you go through that demonstration, when they say, oh, if you land in water, you're like, well, what if that happens? What am I going to do? You suddenly think it's
and you
like...
save yourself before you help the children.
Well, for me, I just suddenly think, instead of the chance being like, 0.001%, I'm like, this is like a 50-50 chance we're going to land in the water.
Exactly.
Anyway, that sentence includes today's language in focus, so let's check it out right now.
今天的课文开头告诉我们，航空旅行这件事情在今天是非常安全的，但是因为有着许多不同的飞行规则，有时候搭飞机可能会是一件难以承受的事情。在这里我们看到 with 后面接着一个名词片语，而形成了一个介系词片语，意思就是要修饰后面的子句来说明这个子句的条件或是原因。在这里就是 Flying can be an overwhelming experience， 也就是说由于有这么多不同的规则，所以才会接着后面要说的事情。For example, with this new program, we can easily find any book in the library.Overwhelming 是形容词，指的是难以承受或是招架的。If something is overwhelming, it means that it can be difficult to fight against. You feel confused or you don't know how to react.
And if that's the case for you, this article says, here are some interesting facts that might make you feel more confident during your next journey into the sky. The first fact is to do with flying in lightning. Lightning, of course, is a form of electricity that forms in the air during a storm and will either flash across the sky or come down and strike the ground. It's all very nice to look at. It can be a little scary sometimes too. Here's an example sentence. A lightning strike caused the old tree to burst into flames.
Lightning 是名词，意思是闪电。被闪电击到的话，我们可以说 hit by a lightning or struck by lightning。而刚刚例句提到的 a lightning strike 则是一道闪电 a lightning flash。
So the article says, thunderstorms are dangerous even when you're on land. Yeah. So sitting on an airplane that gets struck by lightning must be deadly, right? Right? I mean, the plane's made of metal.
Yeah, but I've never really seen a lightning that struck the plane.
Well, you're inside, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
So the word strike means to hit something with force. Now, this could you could physically strike somebody, that means hitting them, or you could be struck by something else. That's the passive voice. So here's an example sentence. The batter struck the ball and it nearly hit one of the other baseball players in the head.
Strike 是动词，在这里的意思是打或者是击。那在这边课文提到是被雷打到。Get struck by lightning， 那或像是例句提到的，这个打击者把球打出去，并且这一颗球差一点打到其中一个球员的头。那再来 deadly 是形容词，意思是致命的。If something is deadly, it's most likely to cause death. It's fatal. We can say a deadly virus or a deadly weapon.
Yeah, now I suppose this is one of those things you just don't think about because I'm sure I've flown through bad weather. You know, you get you mostly think of the bumpiness. We call it turbulence, that feeling where the plane's shaking and everybody has to go and sit down, and it does get a little bit frightening. Now that's caused by air pressure, and the same kind of air pressure would maybe cause a thunderstorm. And you think, well, if something that's electricity hits this big wet metal box I'm in, that can't be good, can it? Because the electricity will come through the metal.
Yeah, but I'm sure it happens all the time.
Yeah, and this is the sort of thing that when people were designing planes, they thought, okay, this is one of the main things we're going to have to protect against.
Exactly.
So let's learn more. We see in the article, shockingly, planes are designed to be struck, in this case, struck by lightning. Now, there's a bit of a wordplay joke here. Shockingly, if something is shocking, it's very surprising, but you've also got the word shock, like an electric shock, when you get hit by electricity and it makes your body jump and your hair stand on end. So there is a bit of a joke here with this choice of adverb, shocking. Shockingly, planes are designed to be struck. They're designed to have shocks. But how does it work? The article says, when lightning hits the plane, it travels through the shell of the aircraft and out the other side. So here we're using the word shell to mean the hard outer shell of something. Of course, you could think of an egg, you could think of a turtle or tortoise, but we could also use it to mean the very outside part of, say, a car, the outer, almost like skin of a building, something like that. You might say, the outer shell of the car is missing some paint after a branch fell off a tree and hit it.
我们可能会以为闪电击到飞机是一件很致命的事情，但其实不然，因为当这件事情发生的时候，闪电会通过飞机的外壳，然后就这样出去了。Shell 是名词，意思是某个东西的壳，通常用来指的是很硬，然后保护里面东西的外层，像是蜗牛壳 snail shell 或是贝壳 seashell。
So, of course, if you know about electricity, you'll know it goes very quickly through some materials, but it doesn't go through others. So they just build the plane in a way that the electricity hits the outside bit, passes through the outside, and goes away again without actually getting inside. In the same way that people who work in like electricity plants have special clothes and things are designed in special ways. So yeah, they're just like, yep, lightning will hit the plane, not a problem. And we see in the article, it is estimated that each plane is hit around once every year. So it's probably happened to us.
We just didn't know it.
Exactly.
Estimate 是动词，意思是估算或是估计。那在这边 it is estimated that 用一个虚主词引导出一个子句，意思就是据估计每架飞机一年都会被闪电打到一次。
So that's what flying in lightning is like, not something that you have to worry about when you're on a plane. The next one is about dimming the lights. The article heading is just dim the lights. The verb dim is to make a light less bright. Now, it's not turning it off completely, and you wouldn't use it for the most kinds of lights, which are just on-off. But if you think of maybe a lamp in your bed, some houses and rooms have lights with a dimmer switch where you can go from just a little bit of light to a lot of light, and you can move it around back and forth. It's more likely these days with a lamp than it is to find them in an actual house. But if you dim the lights, maybe you could turn the main lights off but turn on a lamp. You'd be dimming the light in the room.
Or you light up a candle.
Exactly, so you've got less light. So it could talk about a single light, or it could mean an overall the amount of light. Here's an example sentence. Tony dimmed the lights in the living room to make the dinner with his wife more romantic.
Dim the lights 指的是把灯光给调暗。Dim 是动词，指的是把一个东西按下来。The opposite of dim would be brighten.
Okay, so the question about dimming the lights on planes is, doesn't it seem strange that when a plane prepares for landing, the crew dim the lights inside the cabin?
I always thought it was for us to fall asleep.
They do dim the lights to make people fall asleep on the long journeys. Yeah, they kind of say, okay, everybody, you've had the meal, now...
Time to go to bed.
Yeah, that's when they turn the lights off. You know it's going to be night outside, or if it's day, they'll pull down the window things, because they do want people to sleep. It's easier for everybody. But when we talk about the cabin, we mean a single area of a plane or of a ship. Now, in a plane, you could call the cabin just the area for passengers, but you could also use it to refer to, like, the captain's cabin. But that's also called a cockpit. It's called a bunch of other names. It could be the first class part of it could be called a cabin. It could be the upstairs, if you've ever been on a plane with an upstairs and a downstairs, which I did or middle of last year.
Really?
Yeah, it had an upstairs and a downstairs, just two separate areas. So on a ship, the cabin could be like the bedroom. It could be just like one of the rooms, almost like a hotel room on the ship if you're going on that kind of boat. Here's an example sentence you'll often hear. Please make sure you take all your bags with you when you leave the cabin after landing.
那不知道大家有没有发现，每当飞机要降落的时候，机组人员都会把机舱里的灯给调暗。Cabin 是名词，指的是船舱或是机舱。
So you might wonder, wouldn't it be safer to have more light?
Yeah, so people can see.
Yeah, and the cabin crew can see better and get everything ready for landing, and people can easily get back to their seats and put away their stuff. Well, it turns out, as the article says, there's a good reason for this procedure.
那这样的设计程序其实是有原因的。Procedure 是名词，意思是程序或是步骤。A procedure is often official. It's a set of actions for doing a certain thing.
That's right, and here is the reason. If there's an emergency and the lights go out, your eyes will already be used to the darkness.
Yeah.
So we've got a few things to look at in this sentence. The word emergency is a situation that is definitely unexpected. It's possibly very dangerous, and it does require very urgent action. You have to deal with an emergency straight away. So I guess what we can take from this sentence is that an emergency on a plane is maybe more likely to happen when you're about to land than it is when you're flying in the middle of the air, maybe to do with what they're doing with the engines or everything else. So that's why they dim the lights at this particular time. Still doesn't mean an accident's going to happen, but it's just maybe
in case.
Statistically a bit more likely. Here's an example sentence for emergency. There's an emergency at the school. There's a fire in one of the science rooms.
那原因就是因为如果今天有紧急状况发生，而且停电的话，我们的眼睛已经适应这样的黑暗了。Emergency 是名词，意思是紧急状况或是危机。那紧急逃生出口，我们会说 emergency exit。或是当今天我们突然受伤需要送到急诊室，则是 emergency room, ER.
And people like the police, ambulance, the fire service, they are emergency services. You call them to deal with emergencies. That's why there's a special number for them. So we say the lights could go out in an emergency on a plane. If something goes out, particularly lights, then it is turned off. And generally we use this when it's happening by accident rather than people turning them off on purpose. You could talk about the power going out during a typhoon or an earthquake, something like that. The lights have gone out. Oh dear, there's a problem with the power company, or one of our switches or fuses has blown, the power's gone out, that kind of thing. And then we've got the phrase be used to. Your eyes are used to the darkness if it's already dark. If you're used to something, you understand, you've adapted either mentally or physically to a particular situation.
It's nothing new.
Right, it's not strange, it's not going to be frightening. Of course, if the lights are on and then they suddenly go out, you won't be able to see anything, right? Just when you go to bed, the moment the lights go off, the room is all dark. But if you stay in that dark room for a while, you
can see.
You can start to see more stuff. Your eyes get used to there being very little or no light. So if this happens when you're landing and the lights were already out, you'll still be able to see and people can get off the plane in a more safe way. That's what the final sentence today says. Then, in other words, if everybody can see properly, it's much safer to evacuate the aircraft.
Evacuate 是一个动词，意思是疏散或者是撤离。When you evacuate, you send people away from a dangerous place to a safer place.
Evacuate a building, that kind of thing. So that brings us to the end of the first day of the article. We'll have some more facts for you tomorrow, but let's now go to today's chat question.
How do you feel about flying in an airplane? Do you find it exciting or scary? Why?
I find it kind of at this point fairly routine. It's certainly not the excitement it used to be when I was a kid. The very last plane, I was actually dreading it. I was scared, but for a different reason, because I flew back to the UK with a 3-year-old
your baby.
and a 1-year-old.
Okay.
And it's 17 hours on a plane. So
were they crying?
Not too much. It was a big worry about how are we going to deal with it? How are they going to react? Are they going to be scared? Are they going to sleep? Are they going to scream? How are they going to keep entertained? So all my worries are about them. I had no worries whatever about the plane crashing. In fact, it may have been a relief.
Okay, great.
How about you?
I find it scary now.
Really?
Yeah, when I was little, I find it exciting.
But now you
now
get
I'm
scared.
Yeah.
My wife gets scared when it gets bumpy.
Oh.
She really does not like the bumpiness.
I feel like I have more things to worry about now when I'm older.
We call it the burden of knowledge. The more you know,
exactly.
The more you know, the more you realize what could go wrong.
Yeah.
You don't think about that as a kid. Fair enough. Okay, that's where we're going to end it for today. But join us again tomorrow for part 2 of this article, and we'll find out some more facts about planes, including why there is a hole in the window. Join us again tomorrow for that. Bye for now.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Lightning. During the storm, lightning hit a tree in the park and burned most of the branches and leaves. Strike. The little girl was struck by a car when she suddenly ran into the street after her ball. Shell. Jamie covered the car's windows and wheels before he painted the shell a new color. Dim. Could you dim the lights, please? It's too bright in here, and it's hurting my eyes. Cabin. I dropped my toy under the airplane seat, so I had to search the cabin area to find it. Emergency. The teachers are trained to keep students safe during emergencies, such as fires and earthquakes.
智慧小补帖
Overwhelming. Deadly. Estimate. Procedure. Evacuate.